On this channel, I take one or more articles from the Sunday newspaper and I discuss them and invite you to leave your comments and feedback. Today, I'll be discussing the article entitled Take Notes with a Pen and Paper? It Can Be Done. And that's written by Susan Dynarski. A professor says turning off your laptop can help you put your thinking cap on. Step into any college lecture hall and you're likely to find a sea of students typing away at open, glowing laptops as the professor speaks. But you won't see that when I'm teaching. Though I make a few exceptions, I generally ban electronics, including laptops, in my classes and research seminars. That may seem extreme. After all, with laptops, students can, in some ways, absorb more from lectures than they can with just paper and pen. They can download course readings, look up unfamiliar concepts on the fly, and create an accurate, well-organized record of the lecture material. All of that is good. But a growing body of evidence shows that overall, college students learn less when they use computers or tablets during lectures. They also tend to earn worse grades. The research is unequivocal. Laptops distract from learning, both for users and for those around them. It's not much of a leap to expect that electronics also undermine learning in high school classrooms, or that they hurt productivity in meetings in all kinds of workplaces. Measuring the effect of laptops on learning is tough. One problem is that students don't all use laptops the same way. It might be that dedicated students who tend to earn high grades use them more frequently in classes. It might be that the most distracted students turn to their laptops whenever they're bored. In any case, a simple comparison of performance may confuse the effect of laptops with the characteristics of the students who choose to use them. Researchers call this selection bias. Researchers can solve that problem by randomly assigning some students to use laptops. With that approach, the students who use laptops are comparable in all other ways to those who don't. In a series of experiments at Princeton and the University of California, Los Angeles, students were randomly assigned either laptops or pen and paper for note-taking at a lecture. Those who used laptops had substantially worse understanding of the lecture, as measured by a standardized test, than those who did not. The researchers hypothesized that because students can type faster than they can write, the lecturer's words flowed right to the students' typing fingers without stopping in their brains for subsequent processing. Students writing by hand had to process and condense the spoken material simply to enable their pens to keep up with the lecture. Indeed, the notes of the laptop users more closely resembled transcripts than lecture summaries. The handwritten versions were more succinct, but included the salient issues discussed in the lecture. Even so, it may seem heavy-handed to ban electronics in the classroom. Most college students are legal adults who can serve in the armed forces, vote, and own property. Why shouldn't they decide themselves whether to use a laptop? The strongest argument against allowing that choice is that one student's use of a laptop harms the learning of students around them. In a series of lab experiments, researchers at York University and McMaster University in Canada tested the effect of laptops on students who weren't using them. Some students were told to perform small tasks on their laptops unrelated to the lecture, like looking up movie times. As expected, these students retained less of the lecture material. But what is really interesting is that the learning of students seated near the laptop users was also negatively affected. The economic term for such a spillover is a negative externality, which occurs when one person's consumption harms the well-being of others. The classic negative externality is pollution. A factory burning coal or a car using gasoline can harm the air and environment for those around it. A laptop can sometimes be a form of visual pollution. Those nearby see its screen and their attention is pulled towards its enticements, which often include not just note-taking, but Facebook, Twitter, email, and news. These experiments go only so far. They may not capture positive effects of laptops in real classrooms over the course of a semester when students use their type notes for review and grades are at stake. But another study did just that. At the United States Military Academy, a team of professors studied laptop use in an introductory economics class. The course was taught in small sections, which the researchers randomly assigned to one of three conditions: electronics allowed, electronics banned, and tablets allowed, but only if laid flat on desks where professors could monitor their use. By the end of the semester, students in the classrooms with laptops or tablets had performed substantially worse than those in the sections where electronics were banned. You might question whether the experience of military cadets learning economics is relevant to students in other settings. Say community college students learning Shakespeare. But we'd expect the negative effects of laptops to be, if anything, less at West Point, where all courses are taught in small sections, than it is at institutions with many large lectures. Further, cadets have very strong incentives to perform well and avoid distractions, since class rank has a major impact on their job status after graduation. The best way to settle this question is probably to study laptop use in more colleges. But until then, I find the evidence sufficiently compelling that I've made my decision. I ban electronics in my own classes. I do make one major exception. Students with learning disabilities may use electronics in order to participate in class. This does reveal that any student using electronics has a learning disability. This is a loss of privacy for those students, which also occurs when they are given more time to complete a test. Those negatives must be weighed against the learning losses of other students when laptops are used in class. Students may object that a laptop ban prevents them from storing notes on their computers, but smartphones can snap pictures of handwritten pages and convert them to an electronic format. Even better, outside class, students can read their own handwritten notes and type them, if they like, a process that enhances learning. The best evidence available now suggests that students should avoid laptops during lectures and just pick up their pens. It's not a leap to think that the same holds for middle and high school classrooms, as well as for workplace meetings. And that concludes the New York Times article entitled "Take Notes with a Pen and Paper, It Can Be Done." So, I am not Susan Dynarski. I did not write this article, but I will give my 2 cents. I don't claim to be an expert on this topic. I'm a regular citizen. I am college educated. I do hold 2 BA degrees, but I'm not even going to pretend that this is my area of expertise, but I recently started going back to school for the paralegal certificate, and I actually completed about a year, or actually, no, I think I completed 2 years of it. I was going part time. Excuse me. So the school was a community college. They did not ban note taking on laptops in the classroom, but they suggested it was better and you learned more and retained the information by note taking by hand, the traditional way. And I actually own a laptop and a tablet, and I chose to take notes by hand in all of my classes. I mean, I'm 45, so that's just the way I grew up. I'm used to that. I'm not used to typing on a computer when I don't know, it's just foreign for me to take notes on a laptop. So it was a very easy decision for me to just continue taking notes by hand because I think it maybe it does force you to pay more attention when you're taking notes by hand rather than just tap, 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 just verbatim type in every little thing the professor says when a lot of times it can be summarized and a lot of times they'll even tell you what's most important because if you have to take notes by hand, you're going to make sure you just get the main points down. So it actually forces you to actively listen. That's what I think. Should laptops be banned? I guess it's really up to the professor and the school. Probably in the formative years, children really need to be paying attention. So maybe in middle school and high school and elementary school it should be banned, but in college, well, I don't know if you can really make that a rule. Can you force kids or students in college who are grown adults? But I know in my program, the paralegal certificate program, the director of that program sent out an article. Well, she copied it for all of the professors to distribute to their students, letting them know that learning was reduced when you took notes using a laptop, and you actually learned better when you took notes with pen and paper. So, and that's what I chose to do. I believed it, and I chose to do it. And it looks like this field is new. Not too many studies have done, so it's um it's still open to be explored. But I do feel strongly that yes, a laptop is a distraction. People can easily just go on Facebook, Google, and check their messages. And honestly, I'd probably do the same thing, especially if there's a little lull. Say, the professor wants to start the slideshow, but something's not working. So you've got like 5 minutes where he's not teaching or lecturing. He's just, trying to get this thing started. You know, how come we don't have, Wi-Fi or something? It's just so easy to just goof off on your laptop. And then when he starts talking, you forget to pay attention. Alrighty, well, thanks for listening. And I look forward to doing these types of videos every week. My plan is to post them on Sunday and either do a recap of the week, like a news digest, or just take one article from the Sunday paper, like I'm doing now, and just discuss it. It doesn't have to be politics or the heavy front page news of the day. Just honestly, whatever I find interesting and what I feel like I can talk intelligently about. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Well, thanks for listening to me rant, and I hope you will come back and pay me a visit again. Thank you and have a great day.